Heidi ho, Lions fans. Welcome to the Detroit Lions podcast. This is episode 350. This is the official Detroit Lions podcast for Reddit. I am your dashingest of hosts, Chris, and with me is the beach volleyballist of hosts, Jeff, the Riz Risen. How you doing, brother? You're looking good. You are looking good.
I am trying, man. My daughter is kicking my butt. She's been training for all sorts of different sports, and she's getting me roped in with her. And it's very tough to keep up with a 12-year-old girl. Let me tell you that.
Why?
She's awesome, and it's making me awesome, and I'm happy about that.
Why is the Risen family always so lazy and just hold up inside all the time? I just don't understand it. All right. Got a big show today. Preseason Game 1 review. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We got a lot to cover there. Don Muhlback. Love our guy. He's no longer with the team.
Dun, dun, dun.
The question, bears itself out. Is Dan Campbell an a-hole? We'll talk about that. 2 D linemen are back. What does that mean for the defense? We've got your last call for fantasy football. Get in there now. The doors are about to close and things are about to get going. And Jerry Jacobs was going to join today. We're going to talk about why it's changing news. Things are changing around a little bit, and not necessarily for the worse, not necessarily for the better, but it's definitely
it's something different, and we're proud to break the news.
It's definitely something different. We are happy to break it. Got a great show lined up. Riz, you ready to go, my man?
Oh, let's do it.
Let's kick this off and break it down.
All right. Nice to see everybody in the chat. How you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're new, thanks for joining the show. We're here every week.
Thank you.
Do this. We have a post-game live show. We're kicking that off. Those who know are going to be really excited. Ash Thompson will be the co-host this year. That's of the post cool. He brings so much good stuff from Ash, and he's going to give you a really, really great breakdown on X's and O's and beyond. Really excited about that. Also, if I can just really quick slide in on the video, sorry for the audio people only, but on the YouTube folks, you can see we've got, let me get this up. The Detroit Lions.
That is
podcast.
so cool. You got to tell the story behind it.
Bar and Lounge, where rose-colored glasses never go out of style. Established 2015. That sign is a sign of things to come. I actually got it for my birthday, and it's all bounced out of an idea that's come up. We're going to be doing a pre-game show during the week, folks, and we're going to be doing a little cocktail mixer along with it. We're going to have a game of the week commentary along with a themed cocktail. We're going to show you how to mix them up. We're going to do a whole thing, got a little set we're building for it, and that sign is part of the set. But the Detroit Lions podcast bar and lounge is going to be open. Game day drinks, get ready. We're going to teach you guys how to make some really, really good cocktails. We will have those cocktails during the post-game show, so we'll make it during the week. You can practice.
You're either drinking to remember and celebrate, or drinking to forget.
That's right. That's right. So join us for that. We got a lot of good stuff going on. All right, we're going to get into it first. Review of the first preseason game of the year. There's a lot to talk about here. It's a
hey, Chris. Yeah. Did the score matter?
It did. It did. We lost. We lost, and it meant everything to us. We'll never make the Super Bowl now. I think actually I don't want to say this, but the only teams to go 0-16 have won every game in the preseason. So we've kind of shaken that monkey off the back pretty quick.
We will not go winless this year. Yes. And I will say this, both coaches, both Rod Marinelli and Hugh Jackson, preached up and down, left and right, the importance of learning how to win in the preseason and how that would help prepare the team to win in the regular season. Obviously, that's a bunch of bunk. That's been thoroughly disproven. Winning in the preseason does not help you win in the regular season. And for those of you who are screaming about that, oh my God, the clock management.
The Patriots
stop trying to find negative in every goddamn thing in life.
Didn't the Patriots go 0 in the preseason when they won every game except the last game? Was that the year?
There was a run, and somebody posted on Twitter, and I forget when it was, but it was like 2004 to 2008. The Super Bowl champions combined to win 2 preseason games over a 5-year period. There's absolutely no correlation. Look, you're doing different things. Mm-hmm. Different teams have different. The Buffalo Bills have different goals in the preseason than the Detroit Lions do. They have an experienced staff. they're looking to find their depth, bolster, see if they have somebody that's coming up that, you know, they can trust. The Lions are trying to find starters in a lot of positions. They're trying to find out who their best 53 are.
Yep.
The Bills know who their top 50 are. They know who all their starters are, basically. So they're trying different things. They're trying to, you know, work on little things that they maybe weren't good at last year to hone it up, to get some in-game action.
Yep.
The Lions are trying to install. There's a very different goal to what they're trying to do. And I noticed that. I watched a couple of other preseason games. I watched the Browns and the Jaguars, and that was a very similar situation. The Browns happened to win, and some of that was because the Jaguars were just really, really bad. But like the Browns rested most people that you've heard of, and they went out and they were testing things out with their new one linebacker scheme and seeing if what 1 versus 2 linebackers and how that worked and things like that. They were trying things.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville was trying to get comfortable with Trevor Lawrence to try to get him some easy throws. We saw Marvin Jones make a spectacular catch, former Lion, looked very good in the debut. But again, different goals for different teams. You got to keep that in mind. Pittsburgh has very different goals than what Buffalo does, and very different goals than what Detroit does. The preseason is not about winning and losing. It's about finding what's best for your team.
Was the preseason for Buffalo in the first game about not finding your wide receivers in the first half? There's a lot.
Well, again, they do have a competition going at the tight end spot.
Mm-hmm.
They know who's going to be on the team, but they're sorting out their order there. I think they also wanted to keep. I think they wanted to keep Mitchell Trubisky comfortable, quite honestly. Remember, Josh Allen didn't play. Trubisky has a great history against the Lions. I think they wanted to see if he could carry that over. I will say this. I thought he didn't do all that well. I thought the guy that came in, Davis Webb, did better than him, which is very interesting.
We've had enough of that shit.
That's right. No more Trubisky.
Yeah, we've had enough of Trubisky.
Yeah.
Who by the way, is starting for them again this week. Josh Allen's, again, not playing. And by the way, that's smart by the Bills.
Yep.
Don't play your best players in the preseason.
Yep. Well, let's talk about it really quick. Let's just start with who I think deserves a real talk about. I don't know if I'd say he was the very best player, but boy, he was up there. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Holy cow. This guy showed out. I mean, again, not the fastest guy in the field. And we've talked about that, and it's been talked about, throughout, Detroit Lions media. But this guy can run a route. This guy can catch a ball. Holy moly. Watching the language there. He looked good. He looked really good. Again, just a preseason game, I get it,
Chris.
but man, he showed out.
He's a guy who maximizes what he's got on every rep. And you notice that in practice. You saw it when you were at a couple of training camp practices you were at. All of us in the media see it every day that we're out there. This guy, the attention to detail on every single thing he does is immaculate. It's spectacular. There's no wasted motion. There's no wasted energy. There's no superfluous activity at all. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to be at his best on every rep.
Yep.
It makes him faster than he actually is, than he times. Makes him quicker than he is, than he timed on his short shuttle.
And he's
makes
quick.
him stronger than he looks. I tell you what, man. If every player in the NFL had that attention, that preciseness to their activity, there'd be a lot more better players, because this guy, again, he's not the fastest, he's not the quickest, he's not the strongest, but he is going to be a really, really good receiver for a long time. And I'm very happy that the Lions have him, because God bless, they need him.
For real. No, Amon-Ra, he was great. Sun God for sure.
The out route that he ran, and Goff put the ball exactly where it needed to be. And actually, his best play was the play that was called back for a penalty.
Yep.
And it was a deserving penalty too. I know there was some chatter about that, but I thought he deserved it. It was probably a hold. But yeah, just his ability to catch that ball and instantly both make a move and accelerate up the field.
Yeah.
Who did that real well? Golden Tate did that real well.
Yeah.
Who do we miss in Detroit? Golden Tate.
Yep. Absolutely. With that being said, I want to really quick hit the guy that was throwing the ball early. That first pass, right? God, that one just shook me, right? I gotta tell you,
right? I was watching the game. My family was around me, and they were watching it, and my wife just burst out laughing, like, "Oh God!"
Yeah.
She's not a Goff girl.
No, and I feel bad for him, because that that is just the exact. I mean, the only thing that could have been worse probably at that point is if they had actually picked the ball. Now it'll kind of be able to kind of fall away out of the narrative a little bit. But God, that was not the first ball you wanted out of Jared's hands in the live fire exercise.
And again, Buffalo playing a little bit of dirty pull, dropping a linebacker there. They didn't expect it, but that's something that Jared Goff's got to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And that was. Thank goodness it got dropped.
Yeah,
I was happy to see that. Look, I'm on record. I don't think Goff is going to be great, but I do think he's going to be serviceable this year. I don't want him. I don't want him to get run out of town. I mean, there's far worse options out there. We've seen that. Tim Boyle, David Blau, Mr. Trubisky. We want the best from Jared Goff, and seeing that first throw. My God, if that gets picked off, there are people who are
burning
in our
down Ford Field already,
and who are in higher media positions than I am, who would never ever let that go. Nope. Oh my God, his first throw was an interception, a pick six. He's done. He's done. Get him out of town now.
It would have been in the refractory period by the second minute of the first quarter. It would have been
start the draft clock for next year. Who we taking? Yep. We got Sam Howell going. We got Desmond Ridder going. Who we got?
Yep. Yeah. All right. So Jared Goff, he looked better after that for sure. The first drive was just 3 and out, not exciting, not great. Second drive, what was it? 18 plays in 10 minutes, something like that.
18 plays, 75 yards. There was a penalty in there. There was 2 penalties in there that made it longer. That elongated the drive. But yeah, it was. That is exactly how this team is going to win football games, going on monster drives like that, where they're taking care of the ball, they're methodically moving it down the field, they're taking what the defense gives them, and then you hope that when you get into the red zone, that you take a shot and it pays off. It didn't. They wound up settling for a short field goal. I mean, at least he made it.
Yeah. Well, but he did. He made both field goals, right? Didn't he make 2?
He did.
Yep.
He did. Nothing long, but
nothing scary, right? I mean, because remember, he's better. Didn't you say he's better from the 40 and beyond than he is inside the 40?
Randy is.
Randy, okay,
yes.
okay, yep.
Zane Gonzalez is better from beyond 50 than he is from 40 to 50. The same way Prater was.
Yeah, maybe we carry 2 kickers,
which is very weird. No, but so that second drive though, they did not run the ball well, and Jamal Williams did not run the ball well at all, and I blame some of that on the run scheme. There was a lot of movement from guard, center, tackle that wasn't necessarily. It wasn't really zone blocking. It wasn't like outside zone, but it also wasn't like mano a mano, power blocking. They were doing little things that I'll be honest, I wasn't a fan of it. Mm-hmm. There's too many moving parts for that to work in the preseason, especially with a guy like Jamal Williams, who is not a fast accelerator.
Yep.
You need, if you're going to do that, you need a guy that can jump cut, and you need a guy that can make that first tackler miss in space. That's not Jamal Williams' game. That's not what he does. So the run calls did not suit him very well, and he also didn't run them all that well, nor were they well blocked specifically by the right side of the offensive line.
It felt a lot like an old Lions run game, I'll tell you that.
It sure did. They did have one of, Chris, my least favorite play in football, the quarterback running the ball back and giving the ball into the breadbasket of a static running back and then asking him to run.
Yeah.
I freaking hate that play. It needs to go away, especially when you don't have a fast accelerating running back. That's not what Jamal Williams is. That's not what any of the guys are. It's not even DeAndre Swift. That's not what he's good at.
They're pretending.
You're asking if you do that on 1st and 10, you're asking for 2nd and 11. Why do that? Stop it. Throw it out. Get it out of here. Jim Bob Cooter was smarter than that. Joe Lombardi didn't ever learn that. That's why he's gone.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say Jim. All right. So Jared Goff overall, I want you to give him a grade. I want him 2 grades. 1 versus your expectations. C is dead on with your expectations, okay? And then second is a grade just overall, how did he do? Okay? Because I know expectations and how he did are going to be different.
I think expectations-wise, I think he was fine. I think...
That's not a grade. C is fine, is what you thought.
You know what? I'll go with C+.
Okay,
I will do that because the throw that he made to Tyrell Williams, the turkey hole throw.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him do it, and he zipped that in. That was a really nice throw. I like that, and I love that play, Chris.
Yeah.
The play design where they have Jamal flaring out, they're making the corner pick his poison, and because they got the tight end going the other way on the post route, the safety's got a hold. If Goff can throw that ball in there, by God, that's a beautiful play.
And he did. He did.
He did. And, yeah, that was money. So overall grade, you know what? I'm going to give him, because of the first throw, and because he responded from that.
Yep.
I honestly think I think that goes to like a B.
There you go.
Because again, the first throw could have been tragic. It could have broken. That could have been really, really dramatically bad. But he recovered. He moved on. You know,
that's something
about short memory.
That's something about Goff that I think he doesn't get enough credit for. How mentally tough he
I
is.
Agree with that.
You think about how a cornerback has to just forget about the last play, good, bad, or otherwise, forget about it, move on to the next play, and just have that short-term memory, that memento level memory loss, right? If you remember that movie, right?
Oh yeah,
that's something like that. I mean, that's how you have to live. And Goff can do that. He does not get rattled, and that's a real skill that he needs to get credit for. I had to say, this came up in the chat. This was hilarious. Thunder C. Smith. I won't say the next Tuesday thing, but if I've learned anything over all my years as a football fan, it's that panicking after the first preseason game is absolutely an appropriate course of action. All right, so Goff, this is good. There's some talk about what's going to happen in the next game, and we'll get to that. But we want to hit a couple of the other players. I'd like to talk a little bit about Jeff Okuda as well. They didn't throw a lot to the wide receivers. Of course, I was on cornerback watch, right? Yes. Because of our guy Jerry, and we'll hit on him next. But I want to ask you really quick your thoughts on what you saw from Okuda out there.
He erased his side of the field, whether he did it with good coverage or not. There was no way Mitch Trubisky was looking his way, not even thinking about it.
Thank you. Did he not look awesome out there? I mean, holy cow, man. This is a whole different guy. Different guy. I mean, it's one preseason game, right? So we have this small set of data this year, but you could put it against almost any game last year and say elevated, right?
Yeah. I want to say it was 11 snaps that the first team defense got. And I think it was 5 passes and 6 runs, but I mean, they didn't even think about looking his way. Now, obviously, Stephon Diggs did not play. Cole Beasley, I don't think he played either. So they're running their B and C wide receivers at it, but still, Okuda, and you can see this, and we talk about it every day when we're in the media tent and watching practices. The confidence that Jeff Okuda has. I'm not going to say it's like Slay, because Slay's a character. Slay's a effusive, outgoing personality, and I mean that appreciatively, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okuda's not like that, but he's a fiery, competitive guy who's going to let you know if he makes a good play, or if you make a good play. If Jerry Jacobs makes a great play at corner or safety, he's going to let him know.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that. You alluded to it, breaking news, and Jerry was going to join us today, but Jerry can't. And the reason is he's like, look, you can't even be mad at this dog. I'm quoting here.
Yes, you are.
I'm playing a new position right now, so I'm trying to get down pat, and I probably can't get on tonight. I'm so sorry. Can you catch me after the preseason game? So, yes, we got you, Jerry. We got you back here shortly.
We do.
Jerry Jacobs looks like he's moving to safety.
Yes. He didn't. We have to put in the disclaimer. He did not explicitly say that.
But he ain't going to linebacker.
That's right. He's not the new punter. He's not the new long snapper. Although he probably could. So let's tie this in with one of the other things that we were going to talk about, which was Bobby Price. Effectively, Bobby Price and Jerry Jacobs have switched positions, where Bobby Price is now playing outside corner and Jerry Jacobs appears to be moving inside to safety, which is something that we suggested to Jerry the first time we talked to him. And he was like, I just want to work on corner. I want to master my craft there. Yeah. Yep. It sounds like he's now getting the crash course in learning safety. And you and I talked about it before we interviewed him, and we've had conversations with him on the side where we're like, Jerry, we really think you'd be a good safety. Yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
And he's been like, yeah, I know, but man,
corner,
dog.
Corner. I'll tell you guys the one thing about this, and this is you start to put these pieces together, right? Jerry Jacobs has spent a boatload of time with Jeff Okuda this whole preseason camp, the whole thing, staying with Okuda. Didn't even have a car, was relying on Jeff to haul him around, the whole thing. we'll get to this later, but luckily he didn't go for a ride with Alex Brown. But the thing is, there's a key piece of communication between your corners and safeties when you're handing coverage off, right?
Yep.
That connection, that closeness that's developed between Okuda and Jerry Jacobs may well serve them very well as a safety kind of cornerback in those handoffs. This is an interesting dynamic, something we haven't really talked about or seen on this team before. Two guys that close of friends, like living together basically, right?
Yeah,
Spend all that time together, and all of a sudden now that, that communication that they just developed in that way, playing itself out in the field. I know you guys know I love Jerry. Jerry's been great. He's been super, super cool to get to know. This is that kind of intangible thing that could really, really help him out at playing that new position.
Right. Yeah. And the comfort level of doing that, and the fact that, he is one of the things that I've picked up from watching Jerry in practices. He's one of those guys. He's always going to the coaches after a rep, especially if he has a bad rep. He wants to know how he can do that rep better. He wants to understand what he did wrong, and that thirst for knowledge, that quest to be as best as he can be, and to get feedback on it. And he will take negative criticism and he will apply it in the way that you want a player to do that. He's not going to get down on himself. He's like, okay, this is what I got to do. I got to work on that. And I appreciate that very much about Jerry. And I'll say this about Bobby Price is kind of the same way. And he has that relationship with Mike Ford. And one of the things that came out when Bobby talked to the media, was that Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Bobby talked to the media. And he talked about how much Mike Ford is working with him after practice. And, he's picking Mike's brain. And Mike Ford, believe it or not, is the senior member of the Lions secondary right now. In fact, only Jalen Reeves-Maybin has been with the team longer than him on the entire defense, which is crazy.
That's nuts.
And Mike Ford, by the way, has moved back outside. Yep. Now that Nicole Roby-Coleman is in town, and AJ Parker is getting very legitimate looks as the first team slot corner. And I'll say, do not ignore that. That, like, if you're projecting your 53 now, you better have AJ Parker in it. Yep. Otherwise, you're going to be wrong.
and that's probably part of why they're checking Jerry out. I think I hate to use this phrase because it goes back. Please, trigger warning, everybody. Trigger warning. The concept of multiple. I think we're seeing a little bit about that.
You're going to say it too.
I know. In the secondary, I have a feeling that they have some decisions already made in their head based on what they've seen, and especially with what we're hearing about how the rest of the games are going to go and be staffed. We'll talk about that as well later in the show. But my thinking is they're really kind of playing and tweaking and looking about, okay, now what if we lose person X? How do we staff how do we fill the field? What if we lose person Y? What if we do X and Y, right? That's what I think they're looking at and trying to say, okay, let's do the math equation so that we know not just who our first guys are, but if we start having to plug holes along the way, what makes this defense the best? Because absolutely in a 17-game season, you are going to spend time plugging holes throughout the year. And I think preparing for that now is a really smart move.
Absolutely. Getting the cross-training in with Price where and Dan Campbell said it. We know what he is at safety. We want to see what he can do with his length at corner, with his speed. Obviously, he's got to work on his technique because he got roasted in the Buffalo game. And I'll say this. I'm watching the game. I'm like, is that Bobby Price playing outside corner? Again, my family was watching with me. I'm like, well, that guy's a safety. I mean, that's not what it's not normally what he does. I don't know why he's out there. And then it came out. Oh, he moved. Okay. All right. No, light bulb went on. There's a lot to work with there. My prediction, and I could be wrong on this, is that both Bobby and Jerry are destined for the practice squad, but they're going to be very valuable members of the practice squad, and you will see them up from time to time throughout the regular season. And their ability to go to both spots and play either spot, but also play on special teams, is why they're going to be around in Detroit through at least 2021 and probably next year competing for much higher spots on the pecking order.
I agree 100%. All right, so we'll talk about that. What about the defense overall? We talked a bit about the secondary here. What did you think about the defense, especially compared? We're going to do it 2 grades again. Defense compared to last year, And the defense against expectations.
So I want to focus on one play in specific, and I do not remember exactly when it happened, but there was a play where Alex Anzalone it was a run play, and he took two blockers on, and he left a wide open tackling lane, and CJ Moore missed the lane. He went to the wrong side of it. But that's like the aggressiveness, and Will Harris filled and made the tackle. And there were two things with that. First off, the Lions did not ever have a linebacker attacking that aggressively the way that Anzalone did last year. And you saw how it impacted the Buffalo blocking scheme. Like the guard was supposed to go out and pick off the safety who was closing in, but Anzalone took him out. That never happened last year.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Will Harris flying in under control, using his closing speed, using he's got pop in his pads now. Yeah. And he ended the play near the line of scrimmage. That play does not happen last year. And you know, I know it's crazy to focus on just one play, but that play gave me so much hope, Chris, that this defense is going to be more aggressive and more like they're not reacting. They're making the offense react to what they're doing. That's a game-changing dynamic for this Detroit defense, because that did not happen at all under Patricia.
Something
ever.
Really weird, and I didn't expect it. I didn't even know this was legal, to be honest. We had defensive players in the backfield of the, and is this? I mean, I'm not sure. How does this? I mean, how do they do that? I thought that wasn't allowed in this.
Well,
game.
Some of it was Julian Okwara going against the worst tackle in the NFL. And can we talk about Okwara for a minute?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, the first half he was the worst player on the field for the Lions. No question in my mind about it. And I think PFF grades that way too, and that's why his PFF grade. He was awful, abysmal, terrifyingly bad against the run, and he could not get a sniff as a pass rusher. He got one pressure in the first half. When he was playing against Bobby Hart, and if you want a good laugh, ask Bengals fans about Bobby Hart and his ability to play tackle. That guy is flat out awful. Like Dan Skipper, who is the number 5 tackle on the Lions, absolutely kicks his ass. No question about it. No question that Dan Skipper is a better player than him. So Julian Okwara getting, what was it? I think it was 7 pressures in 12 rushes against Bobby Hart does not impress me in the least. You should be doing that, dude. Finish one of them. He finished one. He should have finished another one. He kind of got held and they didn't call it. But so I was not nearly as impressed with Julian Okwara as most people, because I remembered when he was playing against better, like actual NFL players, he got his ass kicked on the field. There's like. It was awful, Chris. Yeah, he was not good in the first half of that football game.
Sometimes
everybody remembers the second half, but you got to go back to that first half. He was a liability.
Sometimes it just takes a little kick to get that rock rolling downhill and get that momentum, right?
And that's the hope, is that, okay, he got his confidence, he got his mojo by beating up the carcass that is Bobby Hart, and now he'll come out and be like, okay, this is what I got to do. It would be nice if he didn't go with the same footwork and handwork on every freaking rush. You don't drop your left shoulder to get in and then try to swim around to the outside on every single rush. He did that. I forget who, somebody tallied up, and it was on Twitter and they sent it to me. 14 of his 18 pass rushes were that exact move. Like you got to mix it up, dude.
Oh boy.
So hopefully he sees that on tape, and now that it's on tape, the new coaching staff will be like, dude, hey.
Yeah, well, that's
Dan Skipper's throwing you on the ground if you're making that rush. And by the way, Dan Skipper has thrown him on the ground in practice before, trying that rush.
One thing I want to see is this coaching staff. We talk about how great they are. As players, they see things, right? As former players, they see things that just pure coaches may not see. They look for those tendencies. There's just a little bit of a different nature between, you know, a strict coach and a person who played and is now a coach. And the one thing I hope is going on, and we'll find out, this is something we want to investigate, how much conversation is going on between the offensive and defensive coaches. Hey, you know, some tendencies I'm seeing. Hey, some things I'm seeing. Hey, things like, because they want to beat each other in the preseason, right? I mean, that's part of what the game is. But to inform on each other makes a team as a whole better. And I want to see and hear that communication is happening, because that elevates everybody, right? That makes everybody better.
Absolutely. If you want to talk about emulating good teams, the Baltimore Ravens under John Harbaugh do that wonderfully. They have their offensive coaches go into their defensive meetings and tell them what they're seeing and tell them how they're attacking them. I don't know if every team does that, but I know that the Ravens and Harbaugh, probably the best coach team year to year in the NFL. If you want to emulate after a team, you might want to take after that. That's really good.
It's not a bad way to go. Yeah.
No.
All right. Another guy we want to talk about, the only person to score a touchdown for the Lions in the preseason, Craig Reynolds. Is he taking DeAndre Swift's role in this offense? What's happening here, Riz?
God bless him, man. It's such a great story.
Hi, guys. I'm Craig. I'm going to go score a touchdown now.
That wasn't his only good run either. He had a couple of really nice runs. Yeah, good for him, man. It was cool. I'm sure he did not expect to be doing media after the game. After and just the story that he told about, how he missed his flight, and there was thunderstorms and he got delayed, and he got to Detroit like 9 a.m. of the game day. Yeah. Goes in, hasn't met the coaches until like an hour before the game, hasn't met the players that he's playing with until he's in the freaking huddle. What a great story, man. That's what the preseason's all about.
But still, they gave him media time. And that's a coaching staff. This goes back to the whole thing that we've talked about with the staff and what they're doing, this servant leadership, this elevating everybody around them. When a guy like that makes a play for Matt Patricia, you won't see him for a month. Right? And in many teams, you won't see him. But this guy deserves his moment in the sun. Give it to him. Let him go out there. They didn't know what he was going to say. They didn't know how he would react in front of the media, right? He could have done literally anything. And, the old Lions and most teams would have clamped down and not let him see the light of day. But the fact that they did let him out there, the fact that he got out there and got to talk, and then what he said just shows you why this is so much better of an approach for this team. Besides all the fun and everything else, it's really heartwarming to see that guy out there doing media. You know what I mean?
It was such a cool, just the entire experience of it. That's, I don't want to say that it's like a Rudy moment, but it was really cool to see a guy that I was aware of who he was. I think I'd scouted him at some point or something, but he wasn't like on the tip of my tongue. But when I heard the name, I'm like, okay, I know who that is. But like a lot of people were like Googling him, like, who the heck's this guy? He looked good. Dedrick Mills also looked good as a backup running back. And one of the things that impressed me was that those guys made the first tackler miss consistently. And he did it on his touchdown run. He did it on the other nice run that he had. Mills did that on one of the runs that he had, which was a poorly blocked play. And I think he still gained I think it was 9 yards off right tackle. I like seeing that, and I like seeing that fight. And Chris, I did nothing at all against Jamar Jefferson at all.
No.
But the fact that they spent a draft pick on him, when you can find guys off the street who can do that, look, Jamar might be able to do that too. We didn't necessarily see that from him.
He's a little
dinged against Pittsburgh,
right? He's a little dinged up. We'll see what he did. Everything I saw from him in camp, I'm okay with where we got Jamar right now.
Yeah, if
he plays out, right, that's cool.
Right.
The thing I just want to really quick, and I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you, Riz. I just want to say though, go to our Twitter, DET Lions Podcast, and check out. We retweeted Craig Reynolds, Coach Paroli. Coach Paroli is his name. He shows a drill that Craig did, exactly this drill, and he plays it. He plays the drill with the bags and the coaches working with him, and then the run that he did for the touchdown, and it's literally exactly the same blocking and player position. It's like, holy F, the drills are the plays and the plays are the drills, he says, right? And it's a coach talking, not just not to us, but talking to other players and his players and recruits and all that. But holy cow, it was an exact replica of what he'd been trained and what he drilled to do. Really, it's just funny how it just came together perfectly for this kid. Really, really good.
Awesome.
And I apologize for
No, that's fine. But this is one of the reasons why I'm upset anytime they spend a day 3 or day 2, for that matter, draft pick on a running back when you can find guys off the street who can do that. Yeah. And again, nothing against Jamar, but I think we're fine at running back depth. I don't think we need to be going out and signing Todd Gurley, or as somebody suggested to me, get Le'Veon Bell, man, we'll win the Super Bowl. That's an actual quote from Twitter today. Stay out of my mentions, please. Le'Veon Bell was washed 3 years ago. I don't think we need that. You got to develop your young talent, and you can find the young talent very easily. That's why I'm not,
that's a point you made in your vlog about what Adrian Peterson did, helped out DeAndre Swift a lot,
He did,
but also
with the mental preparation, but it took carries away.
Yeah, exactly, and that means a lot. I want to go.
Turns out now that with Swift, maybe he needed the carries away because he's having trouble with the mileage.
I want to talk. You talk about day 2 or day 3 running backs. Let's talk about a day 1 running back, Deandre Swift. He's got a groin injury.
It was day 2, second day.
You're right. I'm sorry. For some reason I was thinking it was first round and second round. In the first. You're right. Day
it
2.
Should be. God, my life would be better if it was.
Yeah, no. Maybe I'm dreaming. Sorry. Deandre Swift, groin injury. You talked about it in one of your vlogs. How much should we worry here? He's supposed to be the premier back. I have a feeling some of those plays, and I'm not knocking any of our running backs. I'll just put it that way. But I think DeAndre may have balled out a little bit better if he was healthy. What are we talking about here? What are we looking at?
I don't disagree with that. I would say that I would not be drafting Swift in your fantasy draft early. I think everything I've heard, and this has been consistent from not only from Dan Campbell when he's talked to us in the media, but what we've heard behind the scenes as well. If it was a regular season, he could play. And I don't doubt that for a second because I've seen him running. I've seen him doing the drills. He looks, other than like after the play, after a rep, he's like a little ginger, but when he's going, you don't notice any real difference on it. So I'm not super worried about it in terms of like his impact when he's on the field. I'm worried that he's going to be off the field more than you think he might be. And using the collective vosotros form of view there. This is not a guy who's going to get 200 carries. Not at all. And I think the Lions have come to that realization already. And that's why Jamal Williams is in town. That's why they drafted Jamar Jefferson. That's why you're going to see probably 2 running backs on the practice squad so they can keep guys fresh and and just for practice purposes so they have a running back in so DeAndre doesn't ever have to practice. Because they are more concerned than you might think about the lingering issues of the groin, and Jeff Okuda's rookie experience plays into that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I know a groin injury is nothing to laugh at because
it's not.
It can last years if not treated. It can, and I can speak from experience. Moved to California, I had one that was a year and a half before it finally got fixed, and I got it work done and taken care of. But and I'm no athlete, right? That kind of thing, those guys and pushing the way they do, that kind of thing, man, it needs care. It needs taken care of, and it can really linger. The thing with
the groin, and you know this from having it really saps your explosiveness, and change of direction.
Yep.
Specifically, like flipping your hips and getting your body around you
you can feel better, and then all of a sudden, twang, and it's gone for the rest of the day.
And that seems to be what happened this week. He went hard one day, wasn't doing team drills, but was doing individual reps. And then the next day he's in street clothes and was not walking. You know how when you have a groin injury, you walk with your legs close together and you don't take big steps? That's exactly what he was doing.
I never walked
the
with my
day that
legs
he was
close
out.
together.
Now he was back at practice today. I was not there today, so I can't speak to that.
So bad.
Yes, I caught that, Chris.
So bad, it's stupid. I don't even know what I'm doing over here. All right.
So don't expect to see him against Pittsburgh. Don't expect to see him in the preseason finale, which with the Colts last, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's Pittsburgh and then Indianapolis.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect to see him in the preseason, and I wouldn't expect to see him get more than. I'm just ballparking this off the top of my head. 15 carries in a game and 5 receptions in a game. If you think he's getting more than that, I'm going to tell you you're going to be disappointed in him. He might get it he might have a week where he gets 22 carries and 8 receptions, but he's going to balance that out where he's going to have a week where he's just not feeling it, or it's cold, he can't get it loose, and he's out there for 10 plays.
There you go.
And I think that's what we're going to see from DeAndre Swift all year, quite honestly.
Yep. Okay, really quick, we've got to talk about the Flynn game. Hattori Hanzo from our St. Jude telethon.
Yes.
He's been beating your butt.
So the issue is where I watch games and the TV I watch them on were ruined when my basement flooded. So I don't have the physical ability to do it right now. I'm going to try to get it done sometime in the next week. My wife and son are actually gone this weekend. My son, brag for a proud second. My son got invited to the Chris Paul Invitational Rising Stars Camp in Greensboro, North Carolina. So my wife and he are on their way down there now. He'll be there all weekend. I hope that I have some time on Sunday or Monday before they get home to watch it. But just the logistics of our house right now, I don't have anywhere to watch it.
What a slovenly family. Never even leave the house. All right. No, good stuff for your son. Congratulations on that, by the way.
It's awesome. We're very, very happy for him. Hope he doesn't screw it up.
We do have something we want to talk about here that is big news this week, and we want to reset everyone's heart. But before we do, you need to know this is your last chance to get into the Detroit Lions Podcast Fantasy Football Leagues. It is going to shut down Saturday, sometime Saturday afternoon-ish. We are going to turn off the fantasy football leagues. We have one opening in the Champions League, but the Intermediate League, well, there's multiple leagues, but we're closing them out, just trying to fill the last leagues here. The Intermediate and the Beginners Leagues could really use a couple of players. Really inexpensive. I think it's like $15 and $25 for beginners and intermediate leagues.
You got that in your couch cushions. Come on.
Get in there. You could win some real money. Top third of the people that are in each league win prizes. It's money prizes for the top three. It is a selection of one of our great T-shirts from the Lions Podcast store for fourth place. There's really, really good stuff. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year. Get in there. Let us fill out these leagues and get players in there and make sure that we don't have to turn a couple people away and shut their leagues down. Head to fantasy.detroitlionspodcast.com, fantasy.detroitlionspodcast.com. Get in there. Join the fun. You'll play Riz. You'll play me. You'll play Ash. You'll play all the guys that you know from the podcast. And have some fun doing the things that you get to do. It's a lot of fun. Fantasy.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Draft day is August 22nd. Let's get in there by Saturday so we can have this all set up. Thank you. All right. Moving forward. Oh, that was Fantasy.DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Don, the Muhlback, has now set the standard. No one will ever die nor pay taxes again. He is no longer with the team. It is its own kind of sad day in that he has just been kind of a fixture and he's been good for so many years. That leaves us now with the longest tenured player being Taylor Decker, of all things, which just kind of chugs my mind. But on the
Taylor Decker,
on the Muhlback,
first round pick, 2016, Bob Quinn's first draft pick is the longest tenured Detroit Lion now.
5 years. Don was let go on his birthday, which is kind of a tough go.
That's rough.
And today in press, Dan Campbell called himself an asshole for doing it. You know what? Look. Here's where I'm at, and you can tell me I'm wrong, Riz. I'm not happy to see Muhlback go. Right? I love the guy. He's kind of a legend. It's you have these kind of legends, and it's fun. But I'm glad that I don't have to think of him ever as not being great. I didn't have to see his decline. I got to see him forever and play and all the hype and everything. But like, I never had to see us lose games because Don couldn't get the ball to the kicker or to the holder. I just feel like, sometimes it is good to go out on top. I saw a really good Tarantino interview with Joe Rogan, and he's only doing one more movie. And his thing is, why should I let you tell me I'm terrible and then I go, rather than you saying, well, please make more. And I get to walk away being the greatest, right? And I obviously paraphrase there, but that's kind of what I feel like with Muhlback. It's kind of nice to see him go out on top and keep those memories where they're at.
That he went out without being thrown out for a bad performance that the public would know about. I'm with you. You tweeted that to me today, and I thought that was a brilliant. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I'm somebody, I watch a great deal of basketball. I remember watching Patrick Ewing in Seattle. I remember watching Hakeem Olajuwon in Toronto. It was bad. I don't ever want to see that. Obviously, Don Muhlback's not going in from Detroit, but it's a long snapper. You have to keep perspective. It's a long snapper. In 17 seasons, he made 2 Pro Bowls.
It's cool, just shy. It's just shy about crying about a special teams coach getting the sack.
I mean, look, it's obviously Don Muhlback holds a special place in Lions lore, and he deserves it.
Yeah.
He was here for a very long time. He was really, really good at what he did. But there were signs last year that he was, I don't want to say that he was falling off, but he was not at his best anymore.
Fair.
And that again, I will not profess to watching every special teams rep in camp.
How do you call yourself
but I will
a scout?
say this: I've said this, and I've said this to Ben Raven. I've said it to Nick Baumgartner. I said it to Jerry Reisman enough that he told me to shut up about it. Scott Daly is an NFL long snapper. Like, watching him in practice, this guy's good. Like, he belongs on an NFL team. But my follow up to that was, too bad it's not going to be in Detroit. Well,
but
okay,
and
he's now in Detroit.
And you're not sitting here with Landis, right? Remember that whole thing?
Right.
That was ridiculous.
So there's something. Dan Campbell said this when he was talking on Wednesday, not Thursday, when he called himself an a-hole. And he should, but that's a really push.
I don't think so.
For a teammate.
We'll discuss that.
Okay.
We can disagree there.
But one of the things that Dan said was that it was time, and he also intimated that the team had tried to replace him in the past before, and that goes beyond Jimmy Landis. They have done that before. He has successfully fought off those challenges. Scott Daly, I will say this: he's the best long snapper they brought in to go against him. And Muhlback is not like he's 40 years old. It's harder to do your job when you're 40 than it is when you're even 38. There is a difference. Take it from somebody who could still dunk a basketball when I was 40, and now I couldn't touch the rim at 45, and I certainly can't come close to it now.
Boy, Risen really fell
when
off.
it goes. It freaking goes, man.
Yeah. Risen's performance everywhere has fallen off.
That's very true. That's what she said.
I didn't mean to bust those. Here's where I think that Campbell isn't an asshole. Number one, the fact that he said he is makes him that much less of one. Okay, just because he's like,
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
He owned that decision. That's a tough job. You can't come up on, if somebody's birthday is on cut day and they need to leave the team, you can't not cut them, right? You can't just hang on to them.
I agree.
And it's just like, you got a long snapper, you got your guy here, Scott Daly. You're just gonna say you're a guy. Let's move on. Let's do it. Everybody's gonna get in sync. Your specialists need to be in sync. Every single rep they get is good for them. Did he have to cut Don now? No, he didn't. Was it a decent time to do it, to keep the reps appropriately amongst the same group of guys? Yeah, that makes sense. Does it stink that it was his birthday? Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, it says a lot about Campbell doing that to an ex-teammate, a guy he played with, right? He's going to make the moves that he thinks are right for this team, regardless of any other BS swirling around. I don't think he's an a-hole. I think he made the move that he thought was the right move, and it was the time to make the move. It just so happened to be really crappy timing for Don because it was his birthday. I mean, when it was time to fire Matt Patricia, we can't do it because it's his birthday. Oh, okay. Well, the next day is Columbus Day. How's that? That's the day after his birthday, right? Like, what is the right day? It's never a great day, right? Oh,
it's Bastille Day.
Yeah, I've got to fire somebody. I'm going to do it before Christmas. You fired him before Christmas.
Of Elvis's death. You can't fire somebody on Elvis's death. They might be worshiping the king. You
fired him after Christmas. Now he's got all the bills from the gifts, right? There's no right time, right? It always sucks. Just it is what it is. He made the move. It gives me more faith actually in Dan Campbell, and less makes me think that he's an asshole, and he's more doing what's right for the team and putting the team first. That's just my head on that.
I'll say this, and I put this in the vlog that I did, and go watch that, by the way. It's on the Detroit Lions podcast YouTube page. Please check it out. But one of the things that I said in there, and this stuck with me, was Dan Campbell's tone when he addressed the media on Wednesday, talking about how getting rid of Don Muhlback. That's not a meathead up there. That's not a meat puppet up there. That was a man who felt bad about having to cut a friend, a former teammate, but he did it, and the tone was perfect. You know, he was somber. He was not celebrating the fact that somebody was gone. It clearly moved him. I thought he was going to cry. Honestly, I really did.
Yeah.
So that tells you how important the players are to Dan Campbell, especially somebody that's been around that long. He's earned that respect. And it clearly was very difficult for him. And the second thing, you think they took that decision lightly? Like, they're not cutting Don Muhlback unless they know he's not the right man for the job. Yep. I think that was what Campbell's tone conveyed. So for all the chuckleheads that are out there like, oh my God, we just cut a legend. The season's lost. Name a long snapper from any other NFL team without Googling it. 5 seconds. I dare you. Go now. Didn't think so.
Not seeing it in the chat. No.
Didn't think so.
There is one other story that is sad. It's beyond the Don Muhlback story. I just want to put it up there. It was just trending on Twitter. Just really a moment of silence for OnlyFans. They're going to be banning sexual content and nudity. So
Ace is going to be crushed. That's so much supplemental income for him.
Farewell, OnlyFans. We hardly knew ye. All right, moving on.
You know what's funny? When that first came out, there were a couple of NFL like internet draft nicks who were like, "Oh, this is going to be great for us," and they had set up OnlyFans profiles. And now that it might actually circle back around to them and being a good thing again.
Oh, gee, OnlyFans. But the problem is they got their wangs out. They were trying to go with the flow, right? They just try to adjust, and now it's like, oh man.
I have to bring back my dildo scouting where I use the dildo as a pointer. We'll see where I got that from.
There's a new little light show that's part of the what do they call those things? Super chats. If anybody gets has feeling generous, and I'll do a shot of Jaeger just because you did it for us, but I'd like to see that work if you don't mind. So there you go. Delta 8 now OnlyFans. What next? My dog dies, Michael. My heart's with you, brother. Your dog will be fine. I promise. They do have treats for your pets over there at our partner at CBD, that Detroit Lions podcast, but we'll talk about them. We got a big 65% off deal this week. So, all right, Nick Williams, Levi Onwuzurike are back. What does that mean for the defensive line against Pittsburgh and going forward? Riz, we're going to win them all now. Is that what's happening?
Our defensive line's going to do their part to win. Absolutely. Now, Michael Brockers will not play. Dan Campbell did not explicitly say that, just as Jerry Jacobs did not explicitly say that he's moving to safety. But you can read between the lines. Michael Brockers is not going to play against Pittsburgh. Deandre Swift isn't. TJ Hawkinson isn't. Jared Goff isn't. Most likely.
And Campbell, so he's talking about sitting a lot of the vets this week and is likely going to do the same next week. This is just calls the whole preseason into question for me now. It's like, okay, we went from 4 to 3. We did one quarter. What do we really need to do? I mean, it's almost to the point where, I mean, it's not this bad, but it's almost to the point where you question like the Pro Bowl. What can we do to make this even viable or worthwhile or have any value at all?
Fire it to the sun. And it's sad because just from a broader perspective, the preseason is really good to help the officials. They have to figure out what's taunting and what isn't. Chances are it's taunting, even if it isn't. But it's also good for like coaches to get in the. We just saw Dan Campbell bungle I'll use the professional hater term. He bungled the clock at the end of the game. I thought we got rid of Jim Caldwell. That's an actual quote from somebody who's broadcast on the airwaves across Michigan.
Oh no!
Yes.
Like somebody that does this for like a regular paycheck. It's a chance for Dan
Campbell to practice his clock management. It's a chance for Anthony Lynn to work on red zone plays. It's a chance for Aaron Glenn's 2-minute defense to try and redeem itself because it really didn't look good against Buffalo. Granted, it was 3rd and 4th stringers out there, but I like seeing the reps. I love it. It's a chance. It's a chance for one of the 2 UDFA wide receivers to prove that they even belong in the practice squad, and right now they don't. I like the preseason, Chris. I know most people don't. I know they don't really care about it because the games don't count and the score certainly doesn't count. I like
it when I see the players. I like a game. I like game 1, 2, and 3 and how it used to be. How you start seeing more and more until game 3, and then game 4 was like, okay, it had its own kind of fun, but by the 3rd quarter, it was like, okay, I've had enough. I'm ready for football now, right? But all the stuff before that, I really enjoyed it. This is getting to be where I got a game. Maybe it'll be 2 games of enjoyment. There's a lot of guys to see play out. I don't know. So Onwuzurike is back. Nick Williams is back off the COVID list. He did test positive. He claimed to be asymptomatic on it. I haven't heard from him since then, so I will take his word for it. That's good. They both play the same position. So that new position, and it also happens to be Michael Brockers' position, in theory. Now, Nick Williams can also kick inside.
when they go to a lighter package. I think he and Aleem McNeil are going to alternate as a defensive tackle quite a bit. And I won't say that either one of them is the starter or reserve. I think they're both going to play ample amount of snaps. Aleem McNeil, by the way, looks really, really good in Buffalo. He also looks really, really good in camp. And so that's positive. The defensive line, they're going to let somebody go. And specifically, these guys coming back, it's bad news for guys like Bruce Hector and Kevin Strong, who were two of the best Lions on the field in Buffalo. Kevin Strong was the best Lions defensive player on the field against Buffalo. He's done this before. He's worked his butt off. This is a guy, much like we talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown, dude gets by on effort and intelligence and maximizing every ounce of his ability on every rep.
Oh, my God. It is Sir Mix-a-Lot booty thick.
I said that. Good Lord. I can't believe I said that.
There's so many things that I've let go and not made drops.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Just harken back to my radio days for a second. When 96.1 yanked the carpet from the Big Drew and Jim show, and then the Jim and show, they sent me all the drops that they had of me. And there's like 35 of them, and some of them are just like, oh my God, I really said that on the public airways.
Oh my God. If you could share that, Riz, I'd be happy to
I will not, but I know
Mr.
Costa also has a copy of those, and God bless Jim Costa. I love him. He's doing a great job on 97.1. Keep it up, buddy. I'm rooting for you.
Good. Yeah. All right. So we got our guys back. We got a defensive line back. That feels good. We also have CBD. We talked about it a little bit ago. Delta 8 is going away in October, I think it is. But don't worry. The market moves faster than the government. As always, we got Delta 10. It's like an energy drink. It's more like a sativa versus an indica high. But if you're looking to get that high, go to cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. Got your Delta 10. You got your Delta 8, which is still rocking and rolling outside of Michigan. Great stuff. We'll take care of that pain, anxiety, or insomnia, but also give you a little – you got a little something. I saw a little handoff there, Riz. I mean, not bad. I'm sure. You seem well adjusted. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. You will enjoy the buzz and enjoy the ride. It's awesome stuff. Look, if you're looking to get that same kind of relief for pain, anxiety, or insomnia, though, you can get regular CBD, not the chill line, not the Delta 8, not the Delta 10, just the regular CBD stuff, the oils, and there's edibles in that. And that will take care of those symptoms, but allow you still to pass a drug test. It doesn't give you the high with it, though. But the Delta 8, Delta 10 is the super high stuff. They have Chill Extreme that takes it even to another level if you're looking for that. Legal right now in all 50 states. Go ahead and go to cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. Let me get here really quick. I've got a code for 64% off. Use D865. This is for 24 hours. D865, and you will get 65% off everything you buy at cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. If you miss it, you can use keyword Lions, and that'll save you 55%. D865 for 65. Think like Delta 865. It's kind of a little demonic cheater there. All right, there you go. cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. Like we always do, we try to give you something to help you out and help out the show at the same time. Make sure you get something back when you help us out. We get a little kickback from them when you buy that stuff. All right. Thank you, everyone, for cbd.detroitlionspodcast.com. I say, oh, God, no, we're going to the viral video move. People holding the signs. All right. Bobby Price is moving.
That guy with the sign. I love that dude.
Bobby Price is moving to cornerback. This solves every woe the Lions have had for the last 50 years, doesn't it?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but more from a broader roster construct perspective. I like the fact that they realize that it's not working at safety for him, and they're like, he's a really good athlete. We like him. He's got a good attitude. We want to see if we can make this work. He's going to be on the team for special teams. You got to talk about your shirt, by the way, because that's pretty freaking awesome.
Oh,
but like this is a guy. He's done everything they've asked him to do, but he's not going to make it at safety, and they knew it, and he knew it. So they're moving him to outside corner. Look, based on what we saw in Buffalo, he ain't making it an outside corner this year. Mm-hmm. But on the practice squad, give him a year. Keep working with Mike Ford. Keep working with Tyrell Williams after practice, which he's done. Gracious, again, a veteran wide receiver sees potential, graciously donates his post-practice time to helping him work with his hands and work on his release and locating the ball and things like that. Little nuances of playing corner versus playing safety. I love it. I love the fact that they're trying to make this work for a guy who they put a fairly good amount of time in, and who's done, again, he's a good dude. He's a great athlete. He's done everything they've asked him to do. He's got the attitude that they want. He's not a turd. He's not out there drunk driving. He's not, doing stupid things. And they're rewarding him with that. And they're doing the same with Jerry, moving it the other way. They're like, okay, you know what? Now that we move Bobby out there, honestly, dude, you're probably not going to make it an outside corner.
I don't know though. Jerry was like a wetsuit on those wide receivers for Buffalo. Now look, I know their top quarterbacks
Jerry played
there.
well against Buffalo.
He played really, really well at cornerback.
He did. Yes, he did.
I'm telling you, he's learning this new position. I'm again, trigger warning for this multiple thing. I really believe that. I think you're going to find Jerry with a position. If he doesn't make the 53, he's going to be position number 1 on the practice squad because I think he's really
he's
shown out, man.
Who will get protected when they're allowed to protect, and he will be a guy that if Oruwariye gets hurt, if Will Harris gets hurt, and by the way, Will Harris had a good game against Buffalo as well, and that was very rewarding to see because he's had himself a pretty decent camp too.
Yeah,
and people who've listened to this show know that I am certainly not a Will Harris fan or fanboy.
Yeah. You got his OnlyFans going, don't you?
I'm pretty darn happy with Will Harris, honestly. Could they do better at safety? Yes, they could, but he's done a lot better. And again, another guy, he's a real easy guy to like. He's a smart guy. He's probably one of the most intelligent guys off the field on the team. Yeah, chug. Chris drinking a little bit of Jaeger there for those of you who are listening to the audio only portion of the show. And thank you for doing that. Please subscribe, by the way, at all your favorite podcast aggregator. We're on weekly. And also we'll alert you to the post-game show as well. Yes, Get on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Jaeger. That's some hardcore stuff, man.
I love it.
Fear the deer.
It's an aperitif. Or digestive. That's what it is. Sorry. I'm confused.
Yes,
I gotta drink more of it.
That's true. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So I mean, Bobby Price, look, we're gonna see a lot of him in the next 2 preseason games. You're gonna see a lot of number 47 on the outside, and you're gonna see a lot of number 47 getting attacked on the outside, for better or for worse.
Yep.
But understand that there's a bigger picture involved, and the bigger picture of it is that this Lions regime is not afraid to try new things with talent, rather than to try to keep trying to hammer round holes into square pegs. Or square pegs in a round hole. I'm not good with that one. I don't know what that is. I wasn't good at preschool, Chris. Yeah.
Too much friction, not enough. Okay, we'll move on. Another position. You touched this in your vlog too, but I want to talk about him and kind of get a little perspective. A guy. Look, if you guys are following my Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, you know that I have not been gentle. Speaking of pegs and holes, with Jelani Tavai over the years, and I got to a point this year where when I saw what he did to make the team and to try to improve himself, the weight he lost, the shape he's in. If you look back to like the 31st of July on the Twitter, I tweeted, "How's it going, Slim?" with a picture of him looking just great. I gotta tell you, man. I'm rooting for Jelani Tavai. Tavai. He's a nice guy. He's put up with a whole bunch of people like me, and he's just let it roll off his back, man. He's put up with a whole bunch of crap and just stayed focused, got his head down, working hard, the right attitude. I really, really want this guy to work out. And here I am this week, watching my Lions news, reading my articles, and I see this jerk Jeffrey Risden put something about the end of the Jelani Tavai experiment. Oh, what a piece of work this guy is. Tell me about, what do you think of what this guy wrote, Risden?
So, and I said this in the vlog, the impetus behind it was the fact that I want Jelani Tavai to get a better shot with a clean slate at a place where the fans don't hate him. And the fans, make no mistake about it, they freaking hate him in Detroit. He cannot get a fair trial in Detroit. He just can't. From the draft status to his bad, let's be frank, he's not been good. He's mostly been terrible since he's been in Detroit. And we saw in Buffalo, he's not as good as Michael Pittman. He's certainly not as good as Sean John Hamilton, who unfortunately went on IR. That's a bummer.
Let's talk about really quick what that means. That means we will not see him in 2021 at all. At least with the Lions. I mean, if he can go somewhere else. But from the sounds of things, we're not going to see him at all in 2021.
When you get placed on injured reserve before the final 53, you cannot play for that team that put you on injured reserve that season. You are out for the year with them. Now, you can take an injury settlement, go off and pass a physical and play somewhere else. And that does happen. And it happens fairly regularly, believe it or not. But he is done in Detroit for 2021. And anybody who goes on injured reserve after this game and up until – I think the cut down is September 3rd, I want to say. Until that date, if they go on IR, they will not play for the Lions that year. And just to bring something else up, because it came up in the Slack today, Hunter Bryant is still on the he was waived, injured, did not take a settlement, reverted to the Lions injured list. He has not been in Detroit yet, and based on team sources that I've talked to, he will not be back in Detroit. And I will say, from the team source that I talked to, be incredibly surprised if he ever plays football again anywhere. So for those of you who are clamoring for him to be your third tight end, no. just no.
There you go. Oh man. Okay. I bet Jeff think that Risen guy is brilliant, a borderline genius even. Thank you, Thunder C. I said don't trust him. He said not as far as I could throw Matt Patricia.
Oh my God, my back would never recover.
Tavai is interesting. Cat,
Tavai,
man.
Look, I come at it from I do regular spots on ESPN Hawaii. Every time I'm on, because they know I'm in Detroit, I generally talk just NFL with them. They always ask me about Jelani Tavai, and I've tried to sugarcoat it, and the sugar has basically been worn away over the years. And I got to be honest with you guys. He's really not playing well. And
the sugar's gone, and it's only the cane left.
Yeah, it is. And the cane is going in places where he doesn't want it.
Oh, I don't know.
And that's look, like you said, he's a good dude, man. Like if you meet Jelani Tavai in public, you're gonna like him.
Awesome dude.
He really is, and he's another guy. He tries so hard, but I think some of that is the fact that he feels the weight of the pressure that, oh my God, I'm failing. I've got to do something. It's like when you're drowning, you're looking for anything to grab onto. Yep. And the flailing just makes you drown faster. And I think that's what's happening with Jelani Tavai in Detroit. And that's why I would love to see him get a clean shot in like Indianapolis or Arizona or Las Vegas, where there's not the stigma attached to him of this guy was a second-round draft pick that nobody wanted at the time. He was poorly coached. They literally inflated him to 270 pounds. Yeah. So he couldn't do what he was good at. It's
that fear thing. I want to talk about that really quick because it goes beyond just Jelani Tavai. We talk about like Jerry Jacobs. What is making him so great? The fact that he's not playing scared. He's out there just going and giving it his all. And it goes back to what we talked to at the top of the show with Jared Goff. That first throw could have really, really just taken him off his game. Could have been much worse. Could have been all kinds of things. But he literally immediately forgot about it, and he played without fear for the rest of the game. He just moved on. Fear is the most insidious breaker of talent in any sport.
You cannot play scared.
You talk about people trying not to
questioning yourself.
You talk about teams playing not to lose, and what happens? They lose. Because why? Fear. And that's the number one kill. And I hope to gosh it did. You talk about breaking players, and that's the number one reason why they kind of get broken is because they get afraid. They're trying to play against something. When you golf, you never tell yourself don't hit the water because that's all you're thinking about, and that's where you're going to hit the ball is into the water. Do not play with fear. Do not act with fear. Act sensibly. But once that fear gets in there, that hurts you. And you're exactly right. That's what feels like has gotten into Tavai's head here in Detroit. He came into this season, looked like he was completely refocused, but it feels like maybe he fell into some of those old traps, fell into some of that old thinking. I'm hoping that he can go somewhere else and get that shot and doesn't fall into that rut again. But that's the thing. This is where, and I forget her name, the woman they brought in, the sports psychologist. This is somebody I think that could have been a huge boon for a guy like Jelani Tavai that could really have helped him out. because this is the exact role that a guy like that needs to kind of rebound and kick it around and turn it around and find himself again and find what got him there beyond a terrible GM.
Yeah, and again, he's an easy guy to root for, but you saw it the other night. He got in the way of Austin Bryant making a spectacular play. There was another play where he got in the way or just wasn't in the right spot, didn't react fast enough. I don't know what happened on the touchdown. I don't know their coverages well enough to know who was in trouble with that. He was not where he was supposed to be, regardless of whether Devin Singletary was his responsibility flaring out to the left or not. He was covering a pine cone in the middle of the field, and there ain't no pine cones that score on you.
He was covering a running back, literally running as fast as he could away from the play, running to his left, and the play is happening behind him on his right, on the side of the field. And he was just, I saw the replay, and it was like, this is so Jelani. That actually could be a show. That's so Jelani, right? I mean, it's just.
All right, I found it. It's Dr. Michelle Garvin who was hired, and Dan Campbell has spoken very highly of her, and as has Brad Holmes, and as has Taylor Decker when he did his media session. Was like, yeah, they're very happy to have her, and I'm happy that they have her, and are taking that step, because that is not something that a Matt Patricia team would do.
Yeah. All right. Hour and 15 in. Got one more thing. Want to talk about something quick before we get to the last piece. Riz brought it up. Look at this, huh?
It's beautiful.
The retro Detroit. I'm trying to get this up on camera.
Pine Knob, baby.
Some folks know it
now
as
DTE.
Yeah.
I actually do know it as Pine Knob. I saw. Who did I see there? I saw Warrant, Trickster, and LA Guns there in 1991.
Two stories about Pine Knob. One, I saw Metallica on the 4th of July. No opening act. The longest show.
Oh, An Evening With.
Yeah. It was on the Injustice for All tour. I'll never forget it. It was all right. The other time, this is a great story. I went to Lollapalooza there. Soundgarden, Ice Cube, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I forget all the bands. It was absolute. Tool was there. It was great. It was absolutely fabulous.
Oh, so that was 92.
Yes.
92 or 93.
Yeah,
90, yep. I think it was 92.
Right around there. Heightened state of awareness. I'll just leave it at that. Right. Beyond
Delta 8 and 10 action work.
Beyond the deltas. Maybe we're into Lambda at this point. Who knows? I don't know. We'll just say that. We got there. It was like the Soundgarden was playing. Me and my buddy were like, we're going to the bathroom. So we go in the bathroom. I walk out and I'm waiting for him, and I don't see him. Right. And I'm like, where is he? He's not coming out. What's he taking a dump? What's going on? And I'm looking. There's cops standing outside the bathroom, and they're like, I get the sense this didn't happen. This is all in my head, right? They're looking at me, man. They know what's going on, man. Oh man, they're going to be coming for. I got to get moving, man. Okay, man, I'm going to go. I don't know where he's at. I'll find him later, right? And I just get this into this worked up state. So I walk between the hill and the pavilion, right? Ding, 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 ding. Soundgarden stops. The song stops. I'm like moving. The crowd gets a little thicker, a little sweaty or whatever. All of a sudden, Rusty Cage kicks in, and I see a freaking body go flying by me. I'm like, what? And I look down, and there's a dude with his nose busted and just blood pouring out. And I recognize I'm in a mosh pit. I'm not afraid of a mosh pit. I've been in many mosh pits at this point from my days of going to Blondie's in Detroit, which was a crazy bar, all the way, through Metallica shows, wherever else I went. But that was not the moment for me to like recognize that I'm in a mosh pit with the bloody face and the flying bodies. And I had to get out of there, and I retreated back. It took me like an hour to find my buddy. I was like, that kind of freak out. I love Pine Knob. That's all I can say is I love Pine Knob. The only reason this shirt exists right now is because I was wearing the Boblo shirt at training camp. The guy goes, I bet you got a Pine Knob shirt. I was like, no, but I'm gonna. So I made up the design.
That's how the seeds are planted right there, my friend.
Exactly.
That's great. So I have been there since it's been DTE. I don't get over there much. It's easier for me to get to Chicago. It's a lot closer for me to get to Chicago. So
Sure.
when I'm doing the big shows, I tend to go there. I did see Dream Theater there, An Evening With in 2000. whenever Mike Portnoy's last tour was and that was the last time I saw them, and I can't wait to go see them. I'm seeing them in Akron in September, and I can't wait because they are my all-time favorite band. As we talked about on my my video mailbag. Yeah. Thank you, by the way, for everybody that did feedback. We will do that again. We will do it again after the third preseason game. And again, it's going to be questions from the Slack from our Patreon, from our Detroit Lions podcast Patreon. Donate $1 a month, you get invited into the Slack. I will post it in there. You send me DMs in there, and I printed them off and I read them off and did it. It was great. And a lot of people who don't know what this is were like, "Where'd you get the questions from?" I'm like, "Oh, well, yeah." So and it was great. And you can ask me questions that don't necessarily have to deal with the Lions, although it's going to be Lions centric. But if you ask me about Iron Maiden or music or beer, you'll probably get that answer too.
So Spud Muffin, got to give him big props. He just joined the
Excellent.
Slack in the Patreon while we're doing this.
Good deal.
Patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. There you go. The shirts, DetroitLionsPodcast.com/store. All kinds of retro Detroit shirts. Really building up some stuff. There's some really, really cool stuff. Say nice things about Detroit. There's a really, really cool shirt that has Detroit, 3 colors, real old 70s kind of groove. Really, really good stuff. I got some more designs. We're going to keep rolling those out. Really, really great stuff. There's Spud Muffin. See you in the chat, man. Thank you for joining the Patreon. DetroitLionsPodcast.com. Check out the shirts. A lot of great stuff. Podcast merchandise, the whole thing. Really, really fun place to go. And I'm going to continue building that out as the days go on with a whole bunch of new stuff. It's kind of a new hobby I've enjoyed. And then last thing on your mailbag, you should thank me for not spelling it MALE bag, just so you know. All right, last thing.
OnlyFans is done, Chris.
OnlyFans is done. Yep, no more sexually explicit content. Rip OnlyFans. Also, rip Alex Brown. You're lucky you didn't rip anybody else, man. What a kick in the tail
when
this
Dan
is.
Campbell's talking about turds, that's what he's talking about.
That one didn't even
blowing
a
.211 with a teammate in the car who's now lost his NFL career because of your dumbass.
Yep.
Yeah. Driving the wrong way down 75. It was.
He's lucky to kill somebody. If this is all alleged, right? This isn't. We gotta put it up front. This is also so append or prefix the word alleged to all of the conversation here, just so you know.
Correct.
And so we're in the right spot on that.
He has not been. Well, he has been arraigned. He has not actually had his court date yet, though.
Yeah, but turd that doesn't even float in the bowl, man. This is at the bottom of the pipe. This is what in the heck are you thinking? Trying to make it in the NFL, and I mean,
and again, to go back to Dan Campbell talked about it in his press conference, the exact right tone when he's harping on these guys. You can't be smarter than that. Talking about how you have to get an Uber, how easy it is. The NFL has a car service.
There you go.
Zero questions asked. You can kill a stripper at a casino high on cocaine with a bag full of heroin in your hand, and they will pick you up and take you home and will not say a thing. That's the NFLPA's rules.
Not that day.
Not
the driver won't say anything.
They might tell TMZ, yeah. But they're not telling the NFL.
Yeah, I don't like. So many guys don't take advantage of that, and especially now, this is Ubers are harder to get now, just with everything going on.
By the way, they're monster expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that won't drive because there's security issues with it. There's obviously there's videos all the time of crazy people attacking their drivers.
The plague,
and also the insurance costs for driving an Uber, especially in the state of Michigan, have oh my god.
Yep.
My neighbor who lives that way, he drives on the side, and he doesn't drive anymore because his insurance went up $365 every 3 months. He's like, it's not worth it for me to do that for 2 rides a weekend, which is what he was doing.
Still cheaper than that in a 16-year-old, I'll tell you.
I can speak to that too.
Oh,
my son is driving. He's probably actually driving right now with my wife in the car.
Insurance in Florida.
Now I'm really nervous. I'm going to finish this beer.
Insurance in Florida is the one place where you just get screwed. $2,000 a year to add a 16-year-old to the car insurance.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Don't tell me that.
It just like glassy-eyed. What? So please get a shirt, go to CBD, and go join fantasy football so my son can learn how to drive and I can pay the insurance bill.
Job.
All right, Alex. Alex Brown, just terrible. And then you have Charlie Tomopo.
Tomopo.
God dang, I'll get it.
And he had a legit shot to make it as a third tight end because Alize Mack is not good at football, folks.
He looks gorgeous, though.
He looks phenomenal. He is very perilously close to looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane.
He's a Miles Killebrew. Gorgeous looking guy.
Yeah, he's got beautiful eyes too.
Yeah.
Actually, Miles Killebrew, they have like the same eyes now that you mention it. Mm-hmm. Now that I think about it, they're both very beautiful men.
I've got a type.
Neither one of them is really good at football, unfortunately. And that number 3 tight end spot, now more than ever, the number 3 tight end, unless it's Rashad Berry, who they just brought in this week, the number 3 tight end ain't on the roster right now because they cut Hunter Tedford today just before we recorded this. They will be cutting. I mean, Charlie Tomopo was gone. He's on the NFI list. They still have, Jake Hausman's gone. So they have, what's his name? Brock Wright, who did not play well in Buffalo. And they have Alize Mack, who's not played well at all summer. And then now they have Rashad Berry, who was a defensive end, outside linebacker, at Ohio State and then for the Patriots. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh, he's an ex-Patriot. Get rid of him now right away. You can't do that. Believe me, I understand the sentiment, but you can't just like black hole everyone that ever played for New England.
Right.
Although I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
All right. With that, we're gonna think one thing I just do want to mention on all those shirts. $4 from every shirt is going to Fisher House in Michigan, trying to help build that Fisher House for the vets at the VA in Detroit. We have one in Ann Arbor. We don't have one in Detroit. It's a real point of need. We're trying to do that. You can either do it by buying a shirt. Like I said, we try to do things where you guys get something out of it. So if you buy a shirt, $4 goes to Fisher House, or you can go to givebutter.com/FHM/DLP, and you can just donate direct if you want to just give them some money.
Run that by me again, Chris. Let me write it down.
Yeah. givebutter.com/FHM, which is Fisher House, Michigan. FHM/DLP. And that's FHM is Fisher House, Michigan. So it's going directly to the Fisher House in Michigan.
God, my handwriting sucks.
If you get doubling from your employer, they will double it. It is a full 501c3 charity. It's the whole thing. I've doubled every dollar I've given to them thanks to my employer being generous in that way. If you have that, you could do that as well and help your vets out, guys who need it. And I mean, right now, I'm not going to get into all the talk about what's going on or one way or another, but you have guys that are down about what they're seeing in the space right now, who spent a lot, gave a lot of treasure, a lot of blood, a lot of their lives in foreign countries, and feel like maybe it wasn't as appreciated as it should be. And I'll leave it at that. So I'm just out there to talk about helping to support some of these guys who could really use it. All right. Fisher House is a great place. Platinum charity. There you go. With that, on that, we're going to call it a show. Thank you all for joining us. Don't forget, Ash Thompson now announced as the
That is so cool. I love Ash. Ash is my second favorite Canadian after Geddy Lee.
There you go. He's got a better nose too. You got Ash on the post-game show live after every game. We've got the cocktail, how to craft a cocktail, tying in with the daily games coming up here, and I'm going to do one during the preseason. And it's I don't want to give I'll just say it's blue. We'll just put it that way. We'll leave it at that. It's a good one though. It's definitely a good one. You want to check that out. What else do we got? We've got Jerry Jacobs moving to safety and coming on the show here after the preseason.
We will get Jerry on again. Yep. He was clear. He was very like guys. I hate to do this to you, but I gotta look out for me, and we totally respect that.
Got to learn my new position.
We grumbled a little bit before the show, but we're like, you know what? Jerry's got to take care of Jerry.
Yeah.
So again, we're rooting for Jerry. Best of luck to him. I hope that it works because he's a good dude. He's played well. He's proven that he belongs in the NFL, and I hope it's in Detroit. But if it's not in Detroit, the fact that he is being multiple will help him out elsewhere. So
I'm telling you, bro, he will be at least practice squad in Detroit. And this is a story that I've wanted to tell for a while, because it's always like right around the cuts. The two things that happen, all the media guys say, now remember, these are people's jobs, and you quit being jerks and that kind of thing.
And
right?
I'm going to say that.
Yeah. And then they forget, going to the practice squad, and then they forget about it. Nobody knows what happens to players in the practice squad. Nobody interviews people on the practice squad. Nobody hears about, I heard that they play, the blue team. on a red team on the practice squad. We're going to have all that information. If Jerry's in the practice squad, he's with us all year. We're going to continue talking to him. We're going to give you insights that you're not getting from anybody else. And it's something we've been working on for a couple of years because it's an incredibly important part of the NFL that goes completely underreported. These guys are just outside the very, very, very best in the world, and there's not many people at that level. These are guys that it's a real interesting story that needs to be told. I think it's its own kind of a Hard Knocks. And then Jerry is a guy, like we said, who very well could make the team and could lend itself to a very strong.
He absolutely could make the final 53, and neither you or I would be surprised. And I would tell you, out of other people who cover the team on a daily basis, would not be surprised if Jerry Jacobs makes the final 53. We don't know if it's going to happen, but he's absolutely still got a shot.
Yep.
He's got to not have a penalty on special teams, and he probably needs to make a play or two in Pittsburgh and at home against Indianapolis.
Yep.
But the table is set for him to capitalize on.
And he's a guy who's not afraid and has got a great story behind him. This is a guy that you can see, right? He's at an inflection point right now, and where his career goes. This is really interesting. This is a guy that you could very well see a 30-30 about in 10 years. You know what I mean? Because he's got the physical ability. He's got the capabilities to do this. Really would love to see what happens here. And let's face it, we started Dan Orlovsky's media career. There's no sense in saying that we can't start with Jerry as well.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah, he co-hosted the show.
A week for Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah, he co-hosted the show with me. I mean, it's crazy. All right. Remember, don't forget us on Patreon, patreon.com/Detroit Lions Podcast. You get access to the Slack, the most intelligent Lions chat on the internet. Thank you, Spud Muffin, for joining us during the show today. Love that. Thank you for that very, very, very much. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you in the Slack. Also, follow us on Twitter at DET Lions Podcast, DET Lions Podcast, and at Jeff Risdon, as you see spelled there on your screen. Jeff Risdon on Twitter. He's always got some great stuff to say. Give us a call via Skype, Detroit Lions Podcast, all one word, Detroit Lions Podcast, or call us on the Lions line at 929-33-LIONS. It's 929-335-4667. Get yourself a message. Get yourself on the air. We'll put you on. We'll play your messages. There's a lot to talk about. Love the stuff. Also, be sure to go to DetroitLionsPodcast.com and subscribe to the podcast. So what happens is, you know what happens.
So we can come into your ear holes automatically.
That's right. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to see you next time on the Detroit Lions Podcast. Remember, no pants, no toasters, no hot tubs, no problems, baby, because we're your Detroit Lions and Reddit connection. Let's get it!